How sound works. How sound works. Focus question. What is sound and why do we need it? Listening for sound. Choose a spot and close your eyes. Listen carefully to what you hear. If you are in a classroom, you might hear voices, lights, humming, or even pages turning. If you are outside, you might hear traffic noises or animal sounds such as dog barking or birds chirping. If you're in your living room, you might hear other sounds. Where do sounds come from? Ponder these. If a tree falls in the forest and no one is around to hear it fall, does it still make a sound? The scientific answer is yes. Sound is a form of energy caused by something vibrating. Vibration occurs when an object moves quickly back and forth. The greater the vibration, the more sound energy is created. When a tree falls, it moves the surrounding air and makes it vibrate. Sound moves outward in all directions from the fallen tree. A crashing sound would be heard if someone were around to hear it. Sound moves away from the trees in waves. Sound waves move through air, water, and solid. That means when an object vibrates, it causes vibration in the matter that surrounds it. When the tree falls, it sends out sound waves in all directions through the air and through the ground on which it falls. Bees' wings provide another example of how sound moves. The wings make the sound around them vibrate, which causes a buzzing sound. The sound waves created by the bee's wings move away from the bees in all directions. No matter where you stand in relationship to the bee, you can hear the buzzing sound. Try this. Vibration. Hold a ruler flat on a desk or table with one hand. Hang one end of the ruler over the edge. Pull the ruler down with your other hand and let it go. Watch carefully to see the vibration of the ruler. Listen to hear the sound that it produces. It does sound like a buzz or a hum. Maybe it is more like a twang. Feel the ruler vibrate. Try these with different lengths of the ruler hanging over the edge. How does the sound change? Why does it change? Sound travels differently through different types of matter. The distance between particles in matter is what causes the difference. In gases, such as air, the particles are farther apart than they are in liquid. In solids, in gases such as air, the particles are farther apart than they are in liquid. In liquids such as water, the particles are farther apart than they are in solids. Particles that are closer together transfer sound energy more easily to one another. Sound transfers quickly through solids because the particles that make up most solids are close together. The transfer of sound is much slower in liquids and air because the particles are farther apart. Overall, the speed of sound varies, especially in gases. Sound travels more quickly in colder air than in warmer air because the particles are closer together. Try these. Sound in solids. Tap on your desk with a pencil. Listen to the sound. Put your head down so your ear touches the top of the desk. Tap on the desk again. How is the sound different? Why? Math Minute. On average, sound travels about 1,082 feet per second through air. Some jet planes travel farther than the speed of sound. When they break the sound barrier, a loud sonic boom can be heard 4 miles away. There are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. A jet flying 6 miles above the ground breaks the sound barrier. How long will it take for someone in the ground to hear the sonic boom? A closer look at sound. There are many different types of sound. The characteristics of a sound that determines what kind of sound it is. Two of the more common characteristics of sound are pitch and intensity or loudness. Pitch has to do with how high or low a sound is. A siren or whistle has a high pitch. Thunder or a bass drum has a low pitch. Pitch depends on something called frequency. Frequency is determined by how fast an object vibrates. An object that vibrates fast has a high frequency and makes a high-pitched sound. An object that vibrates slowly has a low frequency and makes a low-pitched sound. High-frequency sound waves are more compressed or closer together. Low-frequency sound waves are further apart because high-frequency sound waves are more compressed. More waves pass by a given point in 1 second than low-frequency waves, which are more spread out. Frequency is measured in a unit called hertz. 1 hertz means one wave passes by a point every second. In other words, one vibration occurs each second. Humans hear sounds that have a frequency between 20 and 20,000 hertz. If an object vibrates less than 20 times per second or more than 20,000 times per second, you probably will not hear it. Some animals, such as dogs, can hear sounds above 20,000 hertz. Each different sound has a different frequency. For example, humans can make different sounds that range from about 100 to 1,000 hertz. Now let's look at intensity. Intensity has to do with how loud a sound is. It also has to do with the amount of energy a sound wave contains. Loud sounds have more energy than quiet sounds. Thunder has lots of energy and can be very loud. The buzzing sound of a mosquito has very little energy and is not very loud. As sounds move away from their source, they lose energy and become softer. The intensity of a sound gets less and less as you get further away from the object making the sound. Loudness or intensity is measured in a unit called a decibel. You can barely hear a sound of 10 decibels, but a sound of 70 decibels is considered loud. In fact, a 70 decibel sound has about 1,000 times more energy than a 40 decibel sound. If a sound reaches 140 decibels, it has so many energy that it will damage your ears. Try this. Pitch practice. Gather a group of same-sized drinking glasses. Use glass, not plastic. Fill each glass with a different amount of water. Tap on the lid of each glass with a metal spoon. Listen to the pitch. See if you can arrange the glasses from high to low pitch. Try changing the amount of water in each glass. Try different sized glasses or containers. Challenge. Try to tap out a simple tune. Hearing sound. Ears play a big part in the ability to hear sounds. The outer ear plays only a small part in the hearing process. It acts like a sound collector. Its shape helps gather sound waves and move them along to the middle ear. The middle ear and inner ear are designed to transfer sound waves to nerves that carry signals to the brain. The brain that interprets the sound and gives your body commands to respond to the sound. For example, if the sound of an alarm clock reaches your brain, the brain tells your muscles to get you out of bed. Your middle ear has an eardrum that vibrates when sound waves hit it. The eardrum transfers vibrations to 3 tiny sensitive bones. It is important to be careful around loud noises, such as loud music or machinery, which can damage the middle ear. Some damage can cause permanent hearing loss. The tiny bones transfer the sound waves to the inner ear. The inner ear has a snail-shaped part called a cochlear. It contains liquid and tiny nerve cells that change the sound vibrations into electrical impulses that are sent along nerves to the brain. The brain can then figure out what sound is being heard and tell your body how to react. Do you know? Many people with hearing difficulties learn to communicate without sound. They use sign languages and their other senses to communicate with the world around them. These children have hearing aids to help them hear. Devices can be used to help people hear. Hearing aids change the sound frequency and help sound waves to travel through the ear. There's also an operation that involves inserting a cochlear implant. This operation has helped many people hear what they couldn't hear before. It takes time for the brains of people with new hearing aids or cochlear implants to learn what sounds are being heard. How to describe sound. The brain connects the message it receives from the ear with your own language. Sound is often described by what makes the noise. For example, it sounds like a horn. Sometimes sound is described by the noise it makes, such as a beeping sound. Words that imitate sounds are called onomatopoeia. Plop, screech, bang, and swoosh are all examples of onomatopoeia. So are the sound animals make: meow, wolf, gull, and hiss. What could be make these noises in this church? How is sound used? People and other animals have always used sound. People communicate by talking and listening. Laughter is a sound people make when they are happy. The sound of something crying usually means they are sad or hurt. Other animals also communicate with sounds. Animals make noises that can say, danger is near, or I'd like to get to know you. Different sounds mean different things. For example, a loud bang might mean watch out to both people and other animals. Sounds also can give immediate information about the environment. A low rustling in the bushes, for example, tells that something is moving around it there. A whistling in the trees might mean it is getting windy. Dripping or trickling noises indicate that water is nearby. A foghorn signals a ship that a dangerous object might be in its path. In modern times, humans can find new ways to use sound. People use sound waves to search for schools or fish in deep ocean waters. Sonar uses waves that are sent out and return a different frequency when they bounce off objects. Using this sounding technique, fishers can tell when fish are under their boats. Many animals have built-in sounding systems to help them navigate and find food. Bats use a technique called echolocation. They send out sound waves that are reflected back by insects, trees, or other objects. When the waves bounce off objects and come back to the bats, the waves are a different frequency. This technique allows bats to find food at night when they hunt. Dolphins also use sonar to help them find their way around the ocean. Sound waves also are used to take pictures inside a human body. Using ultrasound, doctors can see a baby inside its mother's body before it is born. As with sonar, sound waves reflect off the baby and return at a different frequency. Enjoying sound. Musical instruments have been created from experiments with different types of sound. A famous group called Stomp uses garbage cans, brooms, and pipes to make music. Once they even danced on top of an old school bus at part of a concert. Sounds can make people feel strong emotions. Even a kitten purring or a mother humming to her baby can create feelings of calm and love. People can describe their experiences based on sounds. If someone talks about the ocean, you can almost hear the water crashing on the beach, or you might hear seagulls squawking or squeals of delight from other beachgoers. Conclusion. The world is filled with sound energy caused by objects vibrating all around us. Many kinds of sound waves moving through the air cause sounds that may be loud or soft, high or low, pleasant or annoying. Pay close attention and discover new sounds that can provide information about the world around you. Sound helps to explain things, gives details about settings and objects, and creates emotions and feelings. Think about all the ways sound enters your life.